Up next and last before question and answer is Tom Salzar. Again, another familiar face. He's up in Washington now as with their Association of Conservation Districts. They used to be down here in Oregon.
Tom, do you want the mouse back?
Yeah.
Patrick. All right, I have notes. You can't read them and I can't either. They're so small. Please take a moment and stretch just a little bit. I've been watching the body language and it is fascinating to count how many chins on hands and yawns and sliding down in the seat, right? Because we're right after lunch and I get to be the closer, right?
Everyone should stand up. No?
Guess not. But good try. I was one of you for a while, for 9 years at the Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District. I've always had a little bit of Oregon in me. My mom was born in Pendleton. I always have some Oregon Jasper, and I'm wearing Pendleton socks. So the Washington Association of Conservation Districts was formed 80 years ago. This is our 80th anniversary. Just an amazing thing to me. Of course, Clean Water Act you heard this morning was 50 years old, and I've been in our community for 30 years. I'm starting to feel old. One of the things that I learned when I came to Oregon is Oregonians are different than Washingtonians. Big revelation. And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, why are the people in Oregon so different than in Washington? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, Washington, they're rushing around, they're kind of cold, they're blah. You know, the Washington wave when I was a child was all 5 fingers. And the Oregon people seem warmer and friendlier. And she goes, well, son, when the wagon trains went west, the nice people turned left when they went down the Columbia River. We have had a very challenging year at WACD. We had legislative threats that could be termed opportunities. I don't think this will resonate for you, but I'll share it. We had an elections bill that would have allowed conservation district board members to be elected on the general ballot. Right now, all 45 of our state-run districts, licensed operating under state law, elect their own, they run their own election processes. And so going on the general ballot was like anathema to some folks. So we had a committee, they came up with the choice option. Districts could choose. Late in the process, a legislator from the same party, and this was a rare thing in my experience, inserted her language over the top of the original language, and it would have mandated everybody goes on the general ballot, and that essentially killed the bill. So that's not dead, that's coming back to us. And as I say, I know that's not going to resonate much because you're already there. We're catching up. The other one we had was a riparian habitat bill, mandatory buffers, mandatory site potential tree height buffers on every fish-bearing stream in the state, east side, west side, narrow rocky canyons, big flats, once the site potential tree height. And you all know that doesn't work. That was going to be a monetary fine if you didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. So we went after that. You know, if you're going to do something with the legislature, you got to go in 1,000%. And we went in all guns blazing and made the pitch that, you know, what we're hearing legislators say is voluntary conservation doesn't work. Look at all the past 20 years. We still have these problems. Voluntary conservation doesn't work. And I got to be the one, this was really fun. I got to be the one to sit there and say, you have never fully funded the requests we have given you for 20 years for voluntary conservation. Give us a chance, give us the money. They gave us $25 million. I am still in shock. It was 10 times more than at any time in the past in a short session we had gotten anything like that. And our member districts were elated. And about 30 seconds later, they were like, oh crap, how are we going to be able to do that? So it is really stressing our entire system, it's stressing our board members, it's stressing our conservation district professionals who are out there on the front lines every day delivering this good work. It's stressing our NRCS partners because it is really pushing the limits of what we have the current capacity to do. As you heard this morning, as you've heard from so many people, we have got to invest in increasing the capacity for our districts to deliver these needed services. All right, moving on. What do we have in common? You would think not much. We actually have a lot more in common than I think separates us. We have landscapes, Western Oregon and Washington, Eastern Oregon and Washington, you know, many of the same conservation issues, the same conservation practices, the same FOTG, often the same people. Very, very similar, and often very similar approaches. We have climate change and drought. Those things don't really care what state they're in. Loss of farmland, challenges with local food systems, working with state legislators, which is always entertaining. And as I heard, I think Senator Debro say this morning, I've also heard some of our legislators say, which is not very many of our current crop of legislators were here during the last recession. They don't know what we could be facing. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do. That's a challenge for us, trying to train them up. We also have shared values. And I think this is the most important point. After lunch, the closer gets to share this with you. We all believe in a non-regulatory, voluntary, collaborative process. We all have a shared interest in conserving the vital natural resources upon which our livelihoods depend, our communities depend, that we recreate in. We believe that local folks should have a strong voice in what happens in their communities. And we believe in ourselves, and we believe in each other. We are a community. Despite different states, despite different laws, we really are part of a single community. And people want what we have. We have trust. We have respect. We have effectiveness and capability. And other agencies in particular treasure that. They want that. They want to ride on our coattails. And sometimes we have to let them, and sometimes maybe not. We have an opportunity to be unified and united in the voice that we present, both with those people who believe in us, and more importantly, with those people who don't believe in us. That's our opportunity, is meeting with the people who don't understand who we are, who don't know what we do, and don't understand how we do it. So why should we partner? Why should Washington and Oregon partner together? Because together we can be more effective and we can be stronger. We're different. We're also the same. So let's work together.